young and you're first getting money, you got to get to the point where you evolve to sophisticated gambler, which means you should rapidly ascend through the check boxes that are in between. If I am in a position where I'm starting to stall financially, I need to bring whatever is something I actually give a fuck about, that I genuinely want to achieve, something that I want to make real, you know? I need to bring it top of mind to like push myself to that next level to achieve it. Every time I continue to get richer and continue to like get more space, the amount of new things I can think with that were previously unknown unknowns, like things I didn't even know I didn't know, that become like possibilities and things to think with, are so cool that I just continue to pursue more. And my entire business nowadays is built around helping rich people get richer. So the big philanthropic side of what we do is helping people who are in these burdened positions. It's really cool. It's a great cyclic process.
We got Mr. Jeremy Haynes on the podcast. Jeremy is, this might be a little more top of funnel for you. I think a lot of people that watch this might not know who you are.
That's good. That's good news.
Get to know you content.
Pleasure to meet y'all.
Nah, but Jeremy, I would consider one of my mentors, someone I learn a lot from all the time. And yeah, we're in here. We're in his office here. How much is this office?
Well, I didn't buy it.
Is this an office or a warehouse?
Technically, it was a warehouse. It has a little exhaust fan up there as an example. I put about $600K in cash into it to turn it into like what you see it as here. From that big ass screen over there to AC and fucking lights. You see all these red pipes up here as a perfect example? This is a fire hydrant system. To be able to close that gate out there legally, you have to have essentially self-reliance. So long story short, that fire sprinkler system.
So just got a whole bunch of city bullshit that you have to go through?
Don't even get me started on that. There's all kinds. You can't do anything really that wasn't already in the building. Like as an example, like that sign above the door that says Megalodon marking, like I couldn't even install that unless there was already a sign that you could see clearly on like Google Maps as an example, because that's what the city uses. We respect the city and we follow the city's rules. Like we do everything in a permitted way, but the permit process is real slow. Like it's a real like monotonous thing. It's you know, just as a business person, I think one of the best things that you buy with money is speed, but the city acts as like a stalling point for that essentially.
Why though? Why does the city hate speed?
It's just safety. It's very fair. In no way, shape, or form am I trying to trash what they do. It's a necessity for sure. Like a great example, man. Like they care about fire. Having a fire extinguisher around makes a lot of sense. Having somebody come and check that that's actually the case. Caring about people with disabilities, right? Like building your bathrooms in a way where you have ADA compliance in mind. There's even little things like I got to do, like install a water fountain. I have to install a high and a low water fountain. That's just to bring things up to code. There's just, you know, there's silly stuff, but like, I understand it. Another great one, I want to redo the lot outside, but I can't redo the lot until I have a permit to redo the lot. Why? Because you have to have a certain amount of spaces relative to the certificate of occupancy. In this case, there's two businesses that share the lot. You have the Collections Ferrari Service Center next door, and then you have my building. There has to be a certain amount of handicap spots. You know, simply put, like there's just things that like keep law and order that you don't ever pay attention to. Like a great one, dude. I go into buildings now. It's unreal the shit that I'm aware of that I used to never be aware of. Like I just look up and I see like sprinklers that are hidden, and I can like see the 6 feet in between each sprinkler, and I'm like, yeah, they're up to code, you know. Or if I walk into a business, I'm like, oh, they don't have a water fountain. Like this must be an old ass building, you know. They haven't brought this bitch up to code, you know. It's a bunch of stupid shit. Remember that building collapsed in I think it was North Miami Beach. Remember that?
I don't remember it, but I've heard about it.
Yes, there was an entire apartment complex. Like people died. Yeah, you know, it was a serious thing.
It was on the beach, right?
100%. Yeah. So long story short, a building just collapsed. There was an apartment building and just fucking fell down. That's why the city is slow. Like they like truly, you know, inspect everything. But yeah, anyway, moral of the story is like obviously wanting to go fast is, you know, and we still went pretty fast. I mean, this was just a shell.
Yeah.
And it took.
I mean, it seemed like it went pretty quick.
Sure as fuck did.
Do you think you actually like make more money because you work here, or do you work here every day?
I have been working here every day.
Or is it just like more of like a branding play? Like,
no. I fucking work out. So okay, when I very first got this place, 10 minutes within. So I signed the lease over there on that counter. Okay, 10 minutes within signing that lease, I had a guy walk in here with a grinder for the floor. Okay, and the first thing we did was this fleck epoxy that you see, and dude, that was crazy. That took 3 days in itself. And like I remember walking in here on day 2, and like, I don't know what I inhaled that day, just like floor dust, you know, whatever the fuck that was made of. But it was so crazy in here. And then just waves of contractors, dude, like all working at the exact same time to do a fuckload of stuff. I was here for a good like 12 to 14 hours a day, and I was just doing a bunch of like essentially non-revenue driven actions, just stacked to get all this shit done in time to be able to have our last mastermind that we did. We needed it for the space. And then as a result of that, I was like, well, I'm not exaggerating when I say I literally got this place to be able to use it for the masterminds. But as I'm building it out, I thought to myself, I'm like, pretty fucking dumb to not think of the other 361 days out of the year. So then we use it as an office. And the team, I will say, like after you have space, there's no such thing as a void. You typically like fill whatever voids you have in your life in whatever way you want to consider a void to exist. You fill it with something. So in this space, I've hired more staff here locally than I had prior when I was working remote, which has been quite beneficial and allowed me to make more money. I just hired a guy as an example today that we just interviewed him earlier around 1. We'll bring him on by Friday when his desk and all his shit shows up. He'll follow us around and just do vlogs all day so we can put out like some get to know me content since I only do talking head stuff. We have an office manager now, obviously, for all the monotonous shit that I don't want to pay time and effort and attention to. And then we have people like, as an example, my marketing helper that we get the opportunity to work physically in person with now. I brought my trainer down that follows me around 12 hours a day. That started yesterday. I'm still a little fat. Give me a little bit of time. But moral of the story is,
wait, you have a trainer like that follows you?
Yeah, that was Nick that you met over there. So 12 hours a day. I don't in any way, shape, or form ever pay attention to food anymore. He just literally like eat this, eat that.
He just spawns it in front of you?
Exactly. He tracks my calories. He tracks my macros. We go over and like you can see over there, you see that little set of yoga mats and like that little roller.
Yep.
We'll do mobility stuff over there. I did about 10 minutes of mobility around 4:45 as an example. Right across, we have this curtain shut, but literally right back here, it's a boxing gym and then a weight gym that our guy Albert owns. And we literally all walk right across there. And we did my first weight training routine last night with him. It started literally yesterday. So we started weight training routine, and then after you and I finish, we'll go over there and do another exercise. We'll do that literally 6 days out of the week. 7th day will be a rest day or a mobility day. Yeah, long story short, there's just all kinds of you ever watch the show Billions? Great show, dude. You should for sure watch TV to fucking watch that one. That's a banger of a show. Anyway, in Billions, about this hedge fund manager named Bobby Axelrod. And at one point, there's a guy who's on his team explaining himself to the SEC for what it's like to work with Bobby Axelrod, who's this billionaire hedge fund guy. And he goes, Bobby's like an aircraft carrier. Like he like walks through the office and like, people intentionally come up and like land and take off and like I built this physical office for the other 361 days out of the year where we don't use it as for our mastermind stuff to be a place where like my trainer can grab my attention, my marketing helper can grab my attention, my life here is optimized, not just my business, And I also believe that money's amazing for buying more space. I think it's a big part of money that a lot of people don't understand.
Buying more space? What do you mean, like physical space?
Exactly, yeah. When you have more space, you can unlock new things. It's like making more money as an example. You can't think of things until you have the money to be able to unlock the things that you can think with when you have that money.
Yep.
You can't be creative to a degree in the physical world until you have the space physically to be creative in. You can't like make sense of use of space until you have the space to use. So as an example, like, we have the penthouse down the road that you've been to. That's one of our spaces. Personal space number 2, down in Coconut Grove, we have a townhouse there. I call that the Jungle House. And here, obviously, in Wynwood, we have our physical office. Bro, all 3 of them bring out a completely different version of me for how I like behave and optimize the space to be. Like the Jungle House, relaxing as fuck. All the trees outside cover the roads. It's all like families and...
I didn't know you had a spot over there.
Yeah, that place fucks, dude. I love Coconut Grove. But I wouldn't want to spend all my time there because it's too relaxing, But it's a great place to like disconnect and feel good. See that golf cart? That golf cart's like a flashy golf cart. It's got 9 speakers, it's got a fucking underglow. I mean, look at the rims, dude, Now that golf cart, I have a completely different golf cart in Coconut Grove. It's just a classic black golf cart from a company called Bintelli. That golf cart down there like fits into that environment. That one we're looking at would never fit into that environment, but it's perfect for this environment here in Wynwood. Point I'm attempting to make is like different environments solicit different behavior and different outcomes as a result. So the more space that you have, you'll be able to define what that space means to you and how you use it.
Interesting.
So this space for me, like I don't do anything here besides productivity-oriented, revenue-driven actions, besides the part where I had to build it out. But anyway, moral of the story is, yeah, every space has a different usage. I would definitely encourage, once you get a little bit of money, get yourself more space. You've been up there with Brez, right? Y'all live there?
We do.
Yeah, you guys got jet skis now, right?
Yep.
You couldn't even think with jet skis before you had the space to have the jet ski,
I
right?
could not think with jet skis until I
Yeah,
had
and
a jet
think
ski
about
to
it. Like,
think about.
how much different is it to live a life where you have the option to go and like fuck around on a jet ski?
I didn't know that I could jet ski to Brickell if I wanted to.
Yeah, dude, there's all kinds of places you unlock. You know, it's like you ever
is
play a
true.
video game where like Grand Theft Auto, like the map is grayed out, and so you go in
Yep.
that area. It's like that's what I'm talking about with space, dog. Like there's all it's the same thing with money. Like until you actually obtain it, you don't even understand what you're missing out on until you have it. And once you have it, you have the optionality to think with it and
Yep.
to use it for all kinds of possibilities that you didn't have prior. So yeah, moral of the story, this place has been fucking sick. Like there's all kinds of cool stuff. And there's also more things as time goes on that I'm like, yeah, we could do that too, you know? And that's what's cool, you know? So yeah, no, it's really cool from a branding perspective. I will tell you that. You saw that mural outside?
Yeah, I mean, I think this place is fucking sick for people like remembering you and like
Yeah,
just
no, it is
knowing
cool
it's
for that.
yours, and I don't know.
It is. I'll tell you this too. This is actually one of the more interesting things. I'm sure you got a fuckload of people who make internet money like us watching this, yeah?
Yep,
So watch
hopefully.
this, okay? The amount of older adults who have taken me more seriously as a result of having a physical location was the most shocking thing to me about this whole process. I can't really even articulate it that well because it's so benign to me and new for how I'm being treated by older people. So I've had physical locations before, okay? I had 3 offices. I had 2 in Beverly Hills and I had 1 here in Miami. But
At what age?
21 through,
Oh, shit.
I want to say like 20, maybe early as 24, but for sure through 23.
How much were you making at that time? I don't know if you care about me.
Not
pocket
that much.
watching
I mean,
shit,
only
but-
like maybe 200-ish K a month at that time.
Okay.
And it was a stressful 200K, I'll tell you that. A lot of fucking staff. Anyway, I'll tell you this. The locations I had back then, they, unbeknownst to me, because my brain wasn't even fully developed at that age, you know what I mean? I probably couldn't even, maybe I could, to be fair to me, but I didn't think of it at the time. Now that it's been several years of not having a physical location and coming out of COVID, I can't tell if it's because of COVID or not, but like having a physical location is doing something different to older adults.
That makes sense.
Who are used to like traditional business, maybe had to go remote and then realized like, yeah, remote is for unserious people is probably what they concluded to. I don't think that. I think we can be serious people being remote.
Yep.
But not everybody's like a fucking dialed in motherfucker that's ready to do whatever it takes wherever they are. So, moral of the story, I think that the stereotype is older adults respect you more when you have a physical
Talking about just like
location 'cause they think
random
you're a
old
more, like,
people you
serious
meet on
person.
the street?
No, I'm
What?
talking like, dude, you know how it goes. I mean, you've been an agency owner, like you probably come across people that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe
Yep.
even older than that, that look at you and say, they're just from a different generation. It's not even that they're like old. I'm not sitting here trying to say like, oh, these are like old, decrepit pieces of shit. I'm saying like, they just have a different expectation that they project onto different circumstances. They typically consider people with physical locations, with like a certain amount of staff, to just be a more serious person. And
Yeah.
so they project onto us this more like serious expectation, which,
Well, would you think
which we
that's-
typically meet and exceed. But
Wouldn't you say that's accurate though? Someone with the
Oh, it is.
physical
I mean, we're very
place and
serious
staff
people,
is
yeah.
more serious? Than
It
someone-
is. No, it is. They're not wrong. I'm just saying it's not something that I considered as a result of like you asked, is it a branding play? You know, like no, I didn't think anything like that. Like as an example, me doing the physical fitness thing and trying to get a physical transformation for myself is truly solely from the perspective I know for a fact that there's somebody watching this that loves the things I say that won't buy from me because I'm a little fat. And I know for a fact I'll make that person convert because look, I respect it. Like you can't buy a body, you know, and you can tell if somebody did buy a body by like surgery and stuff. It is just a hard fucking thing that takes discipline to do. And as a result of that, I think it's like an evolutionary thing, you know? You look at people who do things that are, I'm not gonna say redundant or unnecessary, that's kind of what comes to mind though. It's just something that's hard, that you have to willfully do and push through to like get the physical outcome.
Yep.
And I know that there'll be people who truly will just spend more money with me solely because they respect that I do that too. And in addition to that, I just kind of want to do it, you know? I'm 31 now. I'm happy to do all kinds of cool stuff just to max out my stats, you know?
Stat
Feels
maxing.
like a side quest, you know what I mean?
Stat maxing. What's like? What do you tell like random people on the street when they ask you what you do? Like, what's a helicopter view?
Super easy. We run a
What you do?
marketing agency. We have an education company. That's
Marketing
it.
for what? Marketing for who?
They do usually ask
Yeah, I
that,
know.
and then we typically say we help people with a high-ticket product or service, sell that typically through all kinds of digital stuff,
Yeah.
paid ads, like making video. We usually tell them simple shit, making videos, you know, nothing crazy. We just help with paid advertising on all those social media platforms you use.
Yep.
And then they're usually like, what's an education company? And then we say, well, there's a lot of people who want to work with us that makes no sense for us to work with them as an agency, but there's no reason that we shouldn't be able to help those people anyway. And we're great educators. And so we take all the things that we would do for somebody and just document it in a way where others can learn from us and do it themselves and get the results. Because it's not that tough. We usually tell people it's not that tough. It's not a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, my parents would understand that explanation.
Yeah, that's usually how we explain it. You know, it depends on the person's awareness, but that's our helicopter view. You know?
Yeah.
What do you say?
I say something similar. I say I do like, this is like easy for younger, especially like younger-ish people to understand, because like girls always ask me like what I do and shit, and I usually say, I just do like marketing stuff for influencers. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's not bad, you know.
Usually they like get it. They're like, oh, because nowadays people understand that people online make money. Like people with big followings and stuff, they understand those people make money. So if you like associate with that, then they can understand that you make money somehow, whatever they're selling somehow, some way. You know?
Interesting. So you want them to know you're making money?
Of course.
Yeah. No, I won't lie and say I don't. You know?
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, no.
You lying.
I'm over here wearing Richard Mills, you know.
How much was that Richard Mille? Why'd you have to nut
No,
drag
I
on
don't
me
want to
like
say
that?
about that, but I will tell you this. So I'm currently okay. Let's backtrack one step real quick, okay? Let me explain this before I say this, because this will sound audacious if I don't explain it. So I think that once you get rich enough, the only real thing to do from there, once you've checked the boxes of all the random stuff, like once you get a few cars, right? Once you get whatever fucking clothes and attire you aspire to be, so like your character is set up from a physical perspective, right? Once you get the locations checked, once you stop being a dumbass with money and like consistently invest like a serious amount every month for a good bit of time, you know, and you normalize like currently to you large expenses, okay, consistently, and you make more money, there becomes a point where the money's just like, what am I gonna do? Buy more shit, you know? And in that window, I think you become a sophisticated gambler. and all a sophisticated gambler means in this case is instead of going to a casino and putting it on red or whatever fucking game you'd play, you take sophisticated bets instead, okay? And sophisticated bets come in the form of like paid ads, buying watches, you know? It could be something as crazy as buying a house or like fucking whatever form of a bet you want to take. Now, let me be clear when I say this, okay? I'm technically taking two bets at once. So there's a little area in Miami, Coral Gables, right? And there's like pockets within Coral Gables, okay? One of them, as an example, one of the only gated communities down there is called Cocoa Plum. And there's also a few other little gated communities in between Coconut Grove and right when you get into like middle of Coral Gables. And of course, I'm talking about everything east of Biscayne. I'm not talking Coral Gables around like the University of Miami.
Okay.
I'm talking Coral Gables on the east side of Biscayne. So Biscayne and the water. That little area, in those little pocket communities that have gates, okay? It's a couple of them. An average house can range from like 5 million in an ungated area to about 8 to 10 million in a gated area, okay? So again, this would all sound pretty silly if I didn't explain all this backstory, okay? So here's back to your answer. Like, why buy a watch? Two things. I'm trying to get to 2.4 mil in a down payment, which is 30% of $8 million, so I can get an $8 million crib down there, because I believe that area, it is to the T what Beverly Hills was back in the day in Los Angeles. If you look at the history of Los Angeles, like first of all, it used to all just be oil fields, okay? It was all just, they still have hidden oil rigs right now in like all throughout Los Angeles, West Hollywood, Santa Monica, Venice. Like they all have like these hidden buildings.
Yeah.
Look that up. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm from
okay?
there.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Moral of the story is, there used to be piece of land in those hills or in like the Beverly Hills Flats. You can't buy a tear down house right now in Beverly Hills Flats for less than $10 million. Anybody try to prove me wrong. You can't buy a fucking a house you're gonna tear down because it needs to be torn down and build a new house there for less than 10 mil in the flats. Not even in the areas where the views. The ones that have a different tree per road, okay?
I know exactly
10
what you're talking
10 mil
about.
minimum in that area, okay?
Damn, I didn't know that.
Now I look at that little pocket in that Coral Gables area as that, but like with a lot more upside to go, okay? And I think that by putting 2.4 mil cash and then obviously probably like 30 to 50-ish K a month, give or take what property taxes play out to, if we get rid of those, that'd be great. This would enable me to see some good financial upside in buying a crib, which I generally disagree with. I don't agree with buying a crib. I actually prefer, and I'm currently very biased towards renting instead. Anyway, now I could save the cash like directly of the 2.4 mil, but instead I also made another bet, which is the watches, okay? So right now, tariffs are currently on Switzerland. Every watch company, every major watch company, Patek is an example, raise their prices 15%. Rolex raised their prices
retail?
every year, correct.
Okay.
Now to be clear, what does that do to the secondary market, the gray market, where most people get their watches from? Do you
Makes
think
it more
prices would
expensive,
go up?
right?
Exactly. Now, to be clear, the gray market will adjust down, okay? But have you ever seen a luxury watch company or any luxury company lower their prices after they raised them?
I don't know. I haven't had money that long enough to answer these questions.
Generally, no. So it's like if Ferrari raised their prices, they're not fucking going back down, okay? If Rolex raises their prices, they don't go back down. Chanel raises their prices every single year, they don't fucking go back down, okay? Hermes raises their prices every year, they don't go down. And when they get the justification, if they get the layup of a justification of, oh, there's tariffs, they're gonna fucking raise their prices. These aren't products for fucking regular people. These are products for rich people. So here's my bet. I think that, first of all, watch prices will see a short-term lift in both the retail and obviously the secondary market as a result of tariffs. But I also believe that what nobody's en masse considering is that when the tariffs go down, the prices will not go down. I actually think the prices will then be like kind of a shock reflex where everybody will be like, oh, they didn't lower them after tariffs went down. And then everybody will be like, well, I guess this is just the new price.
So you think it's a good time to buy watches right now?
Yeah, and I've been aggressively accumulating them. Again, I'm not going to say the number, but I will tell you this. I bought the McLaren RM1103, which are limited to 500. This is the Asia edition Bubba Watson.
Yeah,
this one's sick.
Sick.
Yeah, this one's sick. And long story short, this one specifically I like a lot. That's a limit. That was my first watch I bought where I was like, this is a fucking sick watch. It's a 1 of 30.
Yeah, this is one of them ones like.
Yeah, the fucking big dog right there. So anyway, moral of the story, I'm technically
ridiculous.
taking two what I consider sophisticated bets at the same time in an attempt to, just do what I always try to do, get richer,
Interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, bro, you'll do the same shit. Cause like I said, you gotta go through a process of like checking the boxes on random stuff that's in the way from being able to just be like, I got nothing else to do but
and then you just unlock random ways of thinking about things
because
that
like,
you didn't even
bro,
know
until then,
exist.
it's like the money's got a use for some other shit, like you probably want to buy, like, bro, what you and Brez up there buying out the Chrome Hearts store, and they drop new seasons all the time. So like, until you get to the point where you look in your closet and you're like, do I really need another fucking flannel from Chrome Hearts or another pair of jeans? Like I already got like, what, 15? It's like, then you'll be like, okay, and then you go look in your garage and you're like, yeah, I mean, I got all the fucking cool cars. Like, I'll give you a perfect example, dude. I got a 750S Spider, a Ghost, the newer one. I got the 911 Turbo S Cabriolet, and then I have this Turbo GT from Porsche, the Cayenne Turbo GT. It's like, dude, can I get like a Brez car, like a Mansory G-Wagon as an example, for $500 instead of the Turbo GT for $200? Yeah. Do I think that'd be sick? Yeah. But do I feel like the need to actually put money towards it? No. Because it feels good. I'm like, yeah, I like that car a lot. It feels good. The 750S, I just saw a video from Tate. I think it was literally earlier this morning. He was like, I bought all these supercars chasing the high that the 765 gave me.
I saw that exact video this morning.
And he said, I have not been able to find a better car. Like no matter what car I've driven, no matter what car I bought, this car, the 765 beats every car. And that's how I feel about the 750. I'm like, dude, I don't know if it gets better. I haven't modified anything other than throw rims and paint the brake calipers to match the interior on that thing. And the 911, I will say, I like 911 a lot, and it's growing on me as I continue to own it. But I will say I could upgrade that one. But it's not like a priority enough to me where it takes money from the other bets I make and goes towards that instead. I care more about the other bets. And that's what it takes. When you're young and you're first getting money, you got to get to the point where you evolve to sophisticated gambler, which means you should rapidly ascend through the check boxes that are in between.
So you're saying we should rapidly buy the shit we want to buy?
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't get to the point where you unlock that thinking that I'm sitting here trying to tell you about until you get those things out of the way, because those things are in the way. Those things will inhibit you until you feel that you've externally created the identity of like whoever you want to be physically. You generally will prioritize money going towards that first. Dude, the perfect example, like when I very first got money, first thing I was doing was going to the Lacoste store at the time, buying those fucking polos they had. And then I found out about Y3. And boy, oh boy, man, I paid Yohei Yamamoto a lot of money. That guy, I fucking updated my entire wardrobe again after that.
How much were the shirts?
I mean, dude, I remember the first hoodie I bought. It was like a $300 or $400 hoodie, and that was crazy. I remember like giving him the money like that. I was like, oh. And anyway, moral of the story was after I got that done, you just started looking. It was like locations, like the physical environment, and then like shit like cars, and then usually nowadays, especially like watches, random shit.
What was the first crazy whip you bought? First crazy car you bought?
I didn't really get into cars at all until a little after COVID, because I didn't really ever have a need to do anything other than Uber. I was just using Uber Black everywhere when I was, 19, 20 through probably 26 or 27. Damn. The first car that I got after that, I'd actually done this pretty smart. So the first crazier car I got was a Ferrari 458. Okay. Again, I loved the 458. That was a great car. I fit in there like a glove. I had this much room to my head to the top and that much room to my knees to the dash. And I thought that car was sick. But I cycled up to it. So listen to this shit. I knew I didn't want to get fucked on the rates when I got a car like that, but I also knew I didn't want to buy a car like that cash. I knew I wanted to finance it. And in order to not get fucked on a car like that, I used Carvana. Dude, this is a crazy hack, by the way. I don't necessarily know if I endorse this behavior, to be clear, before I say this.
How much was the car?
But this is what I did. It was only $200K. Okay. I had to put $60K down, but I wasn't used to buying a $200K car. Now it's like I bought the highest car I bought was the 750S. It was like $406. And I could buy more costly cars, okay? I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying I could. But anyway, to not get fucked, I was convinced I needed to do this. I used Carvana. I would get like a random car. They have all kinds of cars, like G-Wagons and like other Mercedes cars and things like that. At one point, when I had the farmhouse, you remember the farmhouse? I had 5 acres. So I had 5 acres, and I had a 12,000 square foot house in Western Miami. Big ass parking lot, like a big front loop, okay? And at one point, I had up to like 13 cars there. And what I was doing was I would buy a car, I'd pay for it for like 6 to 8 months, and then I would trade it back into Carvana, and I might pay like a couple grand in negative equity. And sometimes, believe it or not, I wouldn't even pay negative equity. They'd barely, if ever, make me come out of pocket on a down payment. And the monthly amounts were like a couple $100 or like at most $1,000 for like the nicer cars that I had. And I just had them all sitting there, just like paying for them every month so easily, like one client retainer, not even a rev share would pay for all that. And anyway, moral of the story, I was doing this because then you look at my car credit, dude, when you're like an exotic auto lender.
Yeah.
Bro, my car credit is impeccable because I paid off within like 2 years 13 fucking cars.
So is this the method, Carvana?
I don't know if it's the method, but I'll tell you, like it worked really well to get me like into low single digit rates whenever I need to finance any car. My car credit is like fucking insane now as a result of doing that. So big fan of that. But anyway, moral of the story, the first crazier one that I got was after I did that, and it was the 458. And then I got the Rolls, and that was cool. I actually bought, I bought a shitty Rolls before I bought the nice Rolls. Yeah. You want me to
I
tell
saw
it?
it in your tweet. You were talking about something perceived value or something.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, let's hear it. We gotta hear it.
Okay. This is a traumatic story, man. So I was like, all right, I want to get a Rolls, but keep in mind, like I wasn't comfortable yet. I hadn't financially conditioned myself to be like, I'm gonna get like a $300,000 to $500,000 car.
Yeah.
So I found this dealership in Texas off TikTok, and they sell like, a lot of what they sell is like crazy modified cars, and honestly, a lot of them are sick. And I just was on their website one day and I saw that they had a Rolls-Royce Ghost. It was the first one. It's a 2012. This would have been like in 2020, so like an 8-year-old car.
Ooh, okay.
Which I didn't feel like was crazy, okay? I wasn't looking at that and being like, oh, that's fucked up, you know? It looked nice. And it was rather low miles. It wasn't terrible. I think it was like at a 30,000-ish mile range. And it was only 112K, okay? And I was like, I'm gonna buy this Rolls. It looks great. And it had all these crazy options. So I give the guy, it was like 20K down is what I gave him. And then the monthly payment was something
20K
super
down for a
small. I think it
Rolls
was like,
is crazy.
honestly, it might have been like less than $1,000 a month. And the car gets delivered. And for the first like couple days of owning this car, like everything was fine, you know? It's just like a first series Rolls. The one thing that was a little weird with it, like when it would lift, like when it would start, the air suspension would go like that. So like it'd start, it'd like lift on one side and then like lift on the other. I don't think that was normal. But anyway, one day I'm driving the car back from the design district out to that farmhouse, and we went to slow down, right? That's what it was? We slowed down? Oh yeah, we started, so we were on the highway, we had come to a slow down, and I had started to accelerate to pick back up, and the car started to shake, like just like, and we were like, what the fuck is going on? And then anytime we'd come to a stop, it would just like, and then it threw a drive shaft error like malfunction, right? We send it off to the dealership. I don't know any better to like not send it to the dealership, by the way. Like don't do that if you don't have a warranty. I get a repair estimate of $83,000. It was like 80-something thousand. And I was like, holy shit. And bro, you might have thought that like the car was catastrophically fucked up. No, it wasn't. They had like a door handle, as an example. They said they wanted to replace $6,000. They said they wanted to replace some random door hinge. A door hinge, bro. That little piece of metal that took like $4,000. They said something like.
So they're just hamming you, or it's actually fucked up?
No, there were things like, I remember the door handle they were talking about, and I was like, yeah, that could be fixed for sure. It wasn't like broken to where you couldn't open it, but again, it wasn't perfect either. Anyway, a bunch of shit just accumulated to that, plus the drive shaft malfunction. And this wasn't them like needing to replace the transmission. This was like they needed to open it, which is still a lot of hours of work, but this is Rolls-Royce. So anyway, then I learned a key lesson, which is never buy any one of those cars out of warranty, okay? So any car I ever buy now is all under warranty, no matter what car it is. All 4 of those cars I said I own now, they're all under warranty, okay? Fucking golf carts under warranty. And
How long
so
are the
you never have to
warranties
think about
active for?
maintenance. So it depends on the brand. Like Rolls has a 3-year new car warranty, and you'll typically pay them like 10-ish K every other year for what's called the extended warranty. They call it the Providence warranty. Everything but brakes and upholstery is covered under the Providence warranty. The new car warranty literally covers everything. You don't pay you don't even pay for brakes if you needed to replace them under your annual inspection. McLaren, I think it's 3 years, maybe 4. They all offer extended warranties that just cover like a teensy bit less than whatever the new car one does. And this is a great lesson, right? It's like, you don't have to buy a new car. You buy a car, like I bought the 750, it had less than 1,000 miles, like 1,300 now, you know? And that car, it's already hit like a depreciation curve. And then to be clear, like you still buy it under warranty, so it's not nearly as costly as what it would be if you literally buy it new. And then listen to this, this will make more sense to the car market for you if you don't understand the warranty thing. If you look at, let's say like a Colonon, right? There's a lot of like 2020 to 2022 Colonons that are like what, like 200K now?
Like, yeah, like
maybe like some in the high 100 now. And why? Why did they drop that much? That's a $600,000, $500,000, maybe at worst like $400,000 car. That drops that much because it goes out of warranty, and then somebody didn't extend the warranty in most instances. You know, Aston Martins, like as an example, they drop like a fucking rock.
Yeah.
Generally, and again, this could just be relative to the brand, but most of it comes down to the fact just out of warranty, to my understanding. I could be a fucking idiot for all I know, but that's to my understanding. And I always buy the cars under warranty. So then when we got the Rolls that I currently have, that one, I fucking love that car. It's the Miami spec, you know, the white outers, white rims, red calipers, red interior, with like black accents and black black, not the piano wood. It's not like that lacquered like finish. It's like a nice, like natural looking black wood in there. It looks sick. But that one's under warranty, and then that one's got the extended warranty, and then yeah, no issues with that bad boy. And the Rolls fucks big time.
Yeah, I want to call it.
Big fan of the Rolls. But yeah, that first Rolls, back to my point, $80,000 bill, and I was like, I'm not fucking paying that. Give me the car back. And I call the guy in Texas. I'm like, bro, you absolutely fucking cooked me over here. They sent me a photo of one of the tires as an example. It had wires exposed on the tires in terms of how low the tread was. And listen, I'm a fucking idiot. I paid the dummy tax. You got to do this thing, essentially a pre-purchase inspection, right? If you don't do a pre-purchase inspection, that's a great way to get fucked like I did. I essentially lost money on the car to resell it back to the guy that I bought it from. I lost the $20K and I lost some bank financing because I financed it through a bank. The bank didn't give me the ability to pay it off without interest. So I actually had to pay more money. I lost $37K on that car for like a week of owning it.
You had it for a week?
On the first Rolls, yeah, on that first Rolls, I lost $37K. And then the next Rolls, which again was the one under warranty, it's like, dude, the thing is fucking, simply put, just don't buy a shitty car. Don't buy the shitty Rolls, okay? Never buy the rat. You always buy the good version.
Noted.
Slightly new, low miles, under warranty. That's the key.
So the Rolls, you need to get like a 22, 23, 24?
Well, you keep in mind, so right now while we film this, we're like late 2025.
Yep.
So ideally you'd be in like a 2024 or like maybe a 2023. Because if you're in 2023, like you have until sometime in 2026 when that thing goes out of warranty, and then you know that as long as it can be extended, which is a majority of the cases to my understanding, you would get about a 10-ish thousand cost to extend the warranty for another 2 years, right? And so if you're cool, which you should be if you're buying a fucking Rolls, swinging a 10K cost on that extended warranty, like, you know, you're good. But as an example, if you bought a 2022, like it's coming out of warranty in the next like 2.5 months, right? And then it may have already come out of warranty. And a lot of people don't know that you need to check that. But if you do check that, make sure you can extend it. Because if they get it and it hasn't been extended and you're in that little void where it expired and it still hasn't been extended, they do a little more scrutiny than they otherwise would if it was brought to them still under the warranty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it does make sense.
Yeah, so anyway, paid the dummy tax in a pretty fucking major way on that one. You know, that was a heater of a lesson.
Yeah, that's fucked. 37K in a week.
Yeah, it hurt. It wasn't good. But I mean, look, I don't want to sound pretentious and like I don't care about like keeping the money that we have. But at the same time, I think that's a big part of what's cool about being rich. Like, it's not good to make those kind of fuck ups. That's called learning the hard way, and it's a fool's game to learn the hard way. But at the end of the day, man, like, I didn't come from money. You know, although I'm friends with a lot of rich people, I still at that point in my life didn't know that all these things I just told you were the things that I needed to know.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody just flat out said like, hey, this is what you need to know, otherwise you're gonna get fucked on. You know, and because I didn't know those things and that content never reached me if those things are out there. And it's an unknown. I didn't even know to look it up. I didn't even think at that time in particular there was like anything other than Google that I could have done to research it. And look, I just was really excited. You know, I was getting my first Rolls. I didn't think that all that shit could happen.
That is pretty exciting.
I didn't think I'd like experience like immediate financial loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, I got another question.
Yeah.
You've worked with a lot of like big people, cool people in your life. You've probably met a lot of cool people.
Yeah.
Who's the most impressive person you've met and why?
You know, one of my favorite people I've ever met, his name is Judge Graham. And I won't say, he doesn't like when I say it publicly on platforms like this. His agency, he sold the same agency twice.
Judge Graham?
Judge Graham, yeah.
Cool.
His first agency, he sold it for like mid 8 figures. The second agency, which again, I think was the first agency still, but he still had like a stake in it. He sold it for low 9 figures, okay? And he had hundreds of staff the first time and then thousands of staff.
What type of agency was it?
This was an agency that worked like big corporate deals, had like low annual churn. And the second time he sold it, had thousands of staff, like low thousands to be clear. You know, big like physical office, like large corporate deals. And you know, I don't just like admire Judge for that. Judge is from Texas, very straight shooter. one of my favorite guys just like pick up the phone and be able to ask like any kind of question to, and he just give it to me exactly how I need to hear it. Very direct guy, which I always appreciate. And he's just a regular guy, man. Like he's not like, sometimes I think people idolize people who like have it all. And Judge isn't like, he doesn't look like a superhero, you know? He doesn't look like the Incredible. He's just like a regular looking dude. He's got a family. He's got like a great house in Texas. And he's just got a low couple $100 million that he's squatting on, you know? He put a fuckload of money into the market. He's set, and he's not old, you know? Like Judge is not old. He's I think at the time he did all this, if I'm not mistaken, in his early 40s, or like mid 40s with the latest. And that's, I think it's in today's day and age, like really easy to glamorize rapid success and make it sound like it's all easier than it is. But like, dude, business ain't fucking lollipops and rainbows. You know, like there's tough times, tough things you're gonna face. And I can't stress it enough, man. When you have guys like Judge that achieve what they achieve at the age they achieve it, and are also just like accessible dudes that you can just talk to, I really hope one of these times I can get him in front of us at our mastermind. But the thing is Judge has so much money that like there's not an amount of money I could pay him to get him to come and like value being here with us. He just has to like do things that he loves, and he does love to get in front of people like us and like share lessons, but he also values his family more than anything else. The value, as an example, of just being able to spend as much time as he spends with his kids and be a family man and still pursue the new business ventures he does is just a very impressive thing, you know.
What were his services?
I've met plenty of others. I'm not sure. I'm not necessarily certain of all the stuff he did, other than just the same things we pretty much do, but for a higher level of corporate deals comparatively to, you know, the types of deals that you and I would work with as small businesses instead, you know.
And what do you think made him like mega successful? Like, what about him?
Oh, he dialed the fuck in, dude. That's one of my favorite things. One of my new buddies, his name's Ryan Clark. Ryan uses the word killers he uses the word sickos for this. Ryan says he calls these types of people sickos. And I call them killers. And it's hard to describe other than just they manage to like balance everything in a way that seems effortless. Like you don't see it wear on them, and they accomplish a significant amount in a rather short duration of time.
Yep.
And they still progress in like all these key areas of life at the same time. And they come out with huge outcomes. And like you look at them after and you're like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't even look like you just went through a fucking multi-decade war, you know, and you're just chilling. And, you know, to stay like well-rounded and to still be yourself, and to also learn like the excessive amount of lessons and gain the amount of wisdom you do, taking on that level of effort and responsibility and accomplishment. It's it's just really cool to see, you know. That's what I like about the guy. I love people like that don't have like some, you know, fucking, I take 5 cold plunges a day and inject all this shit and I do like I drink this many milligrams of fucking caffeine in a day to be able to operate, you know, just like dialed in people, dog. Like some people have a level of obsession that is healthy, but as a result of their excessive obsession of whatever the fuck they're putting attention on that they want to accomplish, they achieve such a significant amount of shit, you know. That's what I love. It's just so good to see, you know.
It is good to see.
Yeah, he just dialed in. That's the moral of the story. He's just dialed the fuck in. It's a good thing to idolize, being able to consider that you can accomplish far more than you otherwise would, you know?
Yeah.
Like you ever hear that story of the guy who ran a 4-minute mile, and like prior to that, nobody could fucking
I heard it from you.
I mean, dude, I think if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, I think the fastest mile prior to that was like 7 minutes. And you'd think like you'd make like incremental progress down to the 4-minute mark, and then some guy comes along and just bam, just like 4-minute mile, and everybody who paid attention to that was like, what the fuck did that guy do? And like you go look at the guy and you're just like, he just looks like a dude, you know? And he's like talking about his shit, and he's just like, yeah, just run, you know? And like all the other runners are like, I'll do the same fucking thing, you know? Like how the fuck? You know, that's what I think is cool. That guy though, a lot of people aren't intentional when they do the reps and they do the work. If you get somebody who's obsessed with what they're paying attention to, typically what that really means is they're being like highly intentional with what they are doing. And so if you imagine somebody who's not being like passive about practice and the routine in the game, and somebody instead who's like just fucking locked in, dude. You seen that Shohei Ohtani guy who plays baseball for the Dodgers?
Yeah.
I don't watch baseball. Do you watch baseball?
No, I've been to one Dodger game like recently when I was back in LA, and he hit like fucking 4 home runs.
Well, I just saw a stat the other day. I think it's like this week I saw this shit. They paid the guy $700 million over a decade, okay? And that guy, tell me if you agree or disagree, he looks like rather casual when he plays. But his stat, he doesn't look, simply put, he doesn't look like he's like tweaking the fuck out in order to achieve these like crazy things that he's achieving right now. He made back their $700 million just from like ticket attendance, merchandise, like all the things that they sell and make money on. He already made it back that was his second year, if I'm not mistaken. He got 8 years left to just profit like a motherfucker off that $700 million, okay? What a great bet they made. But when you look at that guy, it does not look like he is like physically worn. It doesn't look like he's exerting himself to the extent that he's accomplishing things. Most people project on to high achievers a view of like, man, that person's got to be exhausted. Like they got to be trying hard as fuck to achieve what they're achieving. And in reality, like, bro, you look at that guy, I don't even know if I've ever seen him sweat. You know, like I watch any Shohei Ohtani highlight that I can find, and that fucker just looks like the most he's always got this like little smile, you know? And just looks super fucking casual. But he achieves that because he's hyper obsessed with just being fucking great at baseball. And as a result of that, when he goes through his routine, he's done it intentionally enough so many times over. I've never seen him practice. I only see him play the game. And whenever he plays the game, everything that he achieves is far greater than any person who's literally ever played baseball to this point in terms of his stats. And at the same fucking time, he's just chilling while he's doing it. That comes from exactly what I'm saying. That comes from this. You're very intentional while you go through what you do. So when you play the game, it just looks like effortless, but your accomplishments are like fucking insane. You understand what I'm saying?
No, 100%.
Yeah, I fucking love those types of people.
Do you think, I always ask everyone this, do you think people like that, or even like a more mild version of success, do you think those people, it's something genetic that they're born with, or it's like something that can be taught and like learned over time?
No. I think it's a level of hunger that comes from all kinds of things. It could be because you were gifted with a great family setup and like a great set of genetics. I don't disagree that could be the case. But no, man, I mean, I've seen a lot of people do like crazy things with their life, all as a result of them just having something that like sits inside of them that makes them want to go the opposite way. I'll give you a great one. So my grandfather, he's a psychotherapist, okay? And he told me one time when I was younger, like it was a bad thing. He's like, you're technically never going to reach a level of satisfaction. Like the only time you actually feel more satisfied is when you get further away from being poor. He's like, so the further away you get from being poor, like the better you'll be mentally. He's like, but the downside of that is like if you get closer to being poor, like, you know, you'll be really unhappy.
Wait, so he's saying the richer you get, the more happy you'll be?
Yeah, but in a way where he's like, because you're pegging that to essentially like your fulfillment, your happiness, and your joy. If it goes the other way, like you'll essentially have a bad time. Like you won't have good outcomes comparatively. Your behavior will be negative. And I don't disagree. Like I think for anybody technically that'd be the case. But the main point he was trying to emphasize is there's this like never-ending drive. It'll be like like I'll truly never feel satisfied is essentially what he was trying to say, based on like how I've structured that game. Now I look at that as highly beneficial because I fully believe in the power of money. Okay, and all my beliefs back the perspective of that being true. Of there's so much more that we get to do, all the optionality we have, all the freedom we have. Like, you know, I think every choice comes down to the amount of money we have. Okay, very rarely is it any different. Anyway, moral of the story is, I think that's like a superpower. I watched as an example. I'll give you a really personal one. Okay, though my mother and father's dynamic growing up, like it wasn't good. There was a lot of tension, and it was very clear that like they should have separated a lot earlier than they did. But my mom didn't have enough money to do so. You know, she was trapped because of her financial circumstances. She couldn't escape otherwise. So she just had to stay in this like fucked up thing she was in because, you know, two things to be fair, kids and also the financial circumstance. The point I'm trying to make is very simple. It's like, that's a great example of something that would shape a belief inside of me that says, well, the more money you have, the better things are, the more options you have, right? And there's so many different ways to validate that belief. My point being, man, I think that being in the position of like having some level of hyper awareness on what that thing is inside of you that can drive your behavior in the direction you want it to go is something great to tap into. And I think you can achieve that without trauma. I think you can achieve that without needing like the exact opposite.
How do you identify it? Because like I'm thinking about it, I don't know. Like,
yeah, and that's okay, man. Like sometimes, here's the other important thing, right? It doesn't have to come from that, is my point. Sometimes it's just like you just want to get fucking richer because like you want to do something selfish. Like you just want to buy cooler shit, you know? You like a certain lifestyle and you want to be able to afford it, and that's a current motivational driver for you. For some people, it's like, I feel like I was limited and now I don't want to be limited and I want to make money because of that. Sometimes it's like some crazy like villainous shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this like fucked up, terrible thing happened and now I want to be able to go make money to like prevent that from ever happening to others, you know? And anyway, my point is, even if it's just as simple as some like super to the general population selfish shit, okay? Like just buying a bunch of cool shit so you can be a particular way that you want to be, or going on a fuckload of vacations, or whatever the fuck it is, or again like that I want to be the opposite of whatever I was. That is super fucking powerful, and I don't think that's genetic. I think that can be bestowed upon anybody at any time just by trying to be self-aware about like, what are your drivers, you know?
I feel like
what genuinely makes money and all the hard work associated with getting the money justifiable to you, and what could be top of mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like the people that really like quote unquote make it just have like some sort of it factor. And what you're saying is that things happen in their life where they have some motivators that create that it factor, and they're not just born with that it factor.
Dude,
I feel like some people just have it, bro. It's like almost like an IQ thing.
I'm talking to you from
extent.
like the before position of this, so like I can't really talk from the other side yet, but I'll give you a perfect one. If you give me about a year, like what do you think a year of me having my trainer follow me around is gonna do?
You get
right?
Shredded, bro.
I don't know. I don't technically know, because I don't picture myself like lifting up my shirt and having a six pack as an example, you know? But that's what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying, like, if as an example I have that type of crazy outcome, I'm telling you now, it truly comes from almost nothing other than I know I'll get more people to buy and more people to give me money if I get physically fitter. And I do believe there'll be other benefits. It's like I talked about with the space thing, like you can't think with certain things until you have it. There'll probably be some other stuff, to be very respectful to fit people, that I will care about or like come to respect.
So you want to get shredded because you know it will make you richer?
Yeah, I swear. And again, there will likely be other benefits beyond that, okay? I don't know them, but I'm going to tell you now. It's like I'm sure I'll experience them. My point is like I don't view that I have some level of like bro, my dad's a factory worker. Like my mom's a babysitter. She has MS. She's in a scooter all the time. You know, like I do not have like genetically gifted athletic parents.
Yeah.
If I get to the point where I have just like a high level of athletic aptitude, let alone like a physical appearance to match, that's a perfect example of what we're sitting here talking about. It solely comes from having a motivational driver that is top of mind for me, that makes me say, yeah, like I'll do that for that outcome. I care about that outcome, and so I'll do what it takes to get that outcome.
Yep.
I think really it's just a lack of desire for the outcomes. You know, are there people who have a genetic or some kind of predisposition it factor? Yeah, for sure. There's people who are naturally gifted at everything.
Yeah.
But it's like, have you learned Spanish being down in Miami yet?
Not yet, no.
I know motherfuckers who don't speak a lick of Spanish and they come down here, and their aptitude for learning a new language is like at the blink of an eye, and all of a sudden they speak Spanish. I've lived here 13 years now. I don't speak more than like fucking 5-10 words, you know? I still can't understand these motherfuckers. But here's my point. I knew the entire time I felt like technology would adapt. Now you can walk around the AirPod Pro 3s. I can hear everything all these fuckers are saying. We had a guy. You meet Jesus?
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, bro.
I didn't meet
Jesus,
him, but I saw him.
He doesn't speak a fucking lick of English, dog.
That shit was
Not
hilarious.
a fucking lick. And he wore the AirPod Pro 3s the entire time he was here at the mastermind.
He didn't know what the fuck was going on, though.
Yeah, but
someone
he
was telling him to stand up, and he was like...
Yeah, but that's my point is like, he doesn't speak a lick of English, but he was able to transcribe like everything being said from the stage. It's like, as long as there weren't like 4 or 5 people talking at the same time, and like, you know, you were talking to him in isolation, he could see everything and then turn around and communicate it to you, and you could see what he was saying. And that's my point is like, I think that technology will first of all be way better. But anyway, I believe you can have an it factor if you have a true level of self-awareness around the driver that you can tap into in a given moment, that makes the sacrifice to get the outcome worth whatever it is.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't tap into that. You can't tap into it, obviously. You know, I don't know the stat. I'm not going to make up the stat. maybe the editors after the fact can put whatever the stat is between us here. There's a certain level of the population that's not self-aware, and it's like a shocking number of people.
What do you mean by self-aware?
Self-awareness means like literally the awareness of self, quite literally.
So they're NPCs, like that.
Yeah, like I'm saying, that's a great way to put it in language that a lot of people will probably understand. Yeah, like there are not a lot of people who are like actively thinking of themselves from a third person perspective, as an example, and like looking at themselves like a character, and that they're in like they're. A lot of people view like how they are as static, as an example. They don't view like every characteristic and trait as a dynamic thing. They don't view that you can like adapt or detach from like specific characteristics or personalities or like whatever the fuck, you know? They view themselves as like a static character, okay? And even that, and my point is, I mean, dude, look, if you're not self-aware in the first place, like, yeah, you're gonna fucking struggle to do what I'm saying, you know? But if you activate that, and you start to think of yourself like, well, you know, what outcomes would I want my character to achieve here? You know, like what would it take? What am I currently inspired by? Why do I give a fuck to do that? You want another really good one for the fitness thing? Yep. Okay, watch this. Okay, another super personal one. Fuck this kid, okay? But also thank you to this kid. So I go to an event. One of the inner circle members invites me to go talk at his mastermind, okay? And I drop some absolute fucking bangers. I start the talk by small room, maybe like 20 people. I say, okay, everybody stand up, okay? And everybody stood up, and I say, okay, if you make less than 50K a month, sit down. And right away, like, pretty much everybody sits down, but like maybe like 4 dudes. And then I go, okay, if you make less than 100K a month, sit down. And then there's like 2 dudes standing. And I go, okay, what do you make? And like one of them made 300K a month, and like keep in mind, everybody else, the other 19 would have made the other 19 would have made about 100K a month. 3 or 4 of them, the rest are below 50.
Yep.
So to me, that is not good, okay? And I'm like, in their world, maybe that's good, okay? But in my world, that's not good. You can't even get in the inner circle if you make fucking that little bit of money, you know?
Yep.
Here's my point. I then drop on them world-class game to fucking help them understand what they need to do to condition up. I help them understand what they literally need to do as agency owners in this particular room to like make a fuckload more money as an agency.
Like technical sauce?
I give them a bunch of shit, dude. Like mindset, technical shit, strategy shit. Awesome talk. And I get great feedback from everybody, okay? And there's one kid in there, this German kid, little wiry fucker, okay? And he makes a video in German afterwards reviewing the event. And I'm like, I love people's feedback. You know, I'm always open to feedback, positive, negative, like I just love to hear it. So I go watch this kid's video, and you know, YouTube does the transcribe thing into English. Now, listen to this, okay? He gives a raving review of everybody, and then he gets to me and he goes, yeah, Jeremy Haynes just like, you know, made me feel poor and just kind of like criticized us for that. In addition to that, his hair gets grayer and grayer and his belly gets bigger and bigger. And I'll tell you what filled me full of rage with that more than anything else was like, I look down on this specific guy. I don't view him as anything other than what he is. A guy who makes like sub 50K a month as an agency owner, essentially, in my opinion, not actualizing on the potential that he could otherwise create. You know, that's a big reason I try to push people to get richer. So many better options on the other side of it. And when you think of yourself as too big than you are, you get to this point where you just stall and you don't grow. Even I myself, like I sit here and I say all this, like not in a way where I'm like fully satisfied with how I am or the characteristics that I have or like my outcomes. You know, I want to get way richer and improve my circumstances way beyond how they currently are. But that's because I don't inflate my character and like my self-worth. I look at it like I want to do more. You know, I want to achieve. Yeah. Anyway, back to my point. This shit pissed me off so much because I was like, you know, first of all, he's not wrong technically. Like as I age, my hair has gotten grayer. I don't really care about that. But the belly thing, I was like, dude, I just can't have this little impoverished fuck. I can't have him have that like valid point over me. You know, I just want to take it away from him. It was probably a good 2 years ago at this point. I was like, I just can't have this guy have that leverage to be able to say that with validity. You know, because I looked at what he was saying as like he's attempting to discredit this high level of game I put him on because he claims that my belly gets bigger and bigger. And that's a great example of what I'm talking about.
So if you were shredded, he would have joined Inner Circle.
I wouldn't let him in. But my point is, like, here's the example, right? That's exactly what I was trying to say with, I know if I got fitter, I'd get more buyers. But I also just love to tap into little things like that just give me some rage. Like that example of what I'm trying to just tie to this point of, you have to be self-aware of what motivates you to do something, okay?
Yeah.
If I'm in the middle of a set over there and I happen to be bitching out, okay? I will think of that little German fuck and it will fill me full of rage, okay? And I will finish that damn set, okay?
Yeah.
If I am in a position where I'm starting to stall financially, I need to bring whatever is something I actually give a fuck about, that I genuinely want to achieve, something that I want to make real, you know? I need to bring it top of mind to like push myself to that next level to achieve it. You know, I have to be able to do the things and get the work done. And most people don't do the things and get the work done because they don't have anything that evokes a desire emotion, a rageful emotion. Some emotion creates energy, okay? And it can create the movement that we need to get the work done. So I love the things. I truly fucking love the things that are good, bad, you know, like make you full of rage, make you full of like happiness. And I try to tell people, I'm like, look, dude, I don't think it's it factor. I think it's being able to tap into shit like that, you know?
Yeah.
You tell me I'm not gonna work out, I'm gonna tell you, fuck that German kid. I'm going over there right now, you know? And like I said, it's great. Really think about this. This is the most important part to understand, okay? I genuinely hold no actual animosity or hate towards the German kid. The situation itself pisses me off. And that's what I try to tap into, right? And so I truly, believe it or not, when I do get fitter, will likely actually thank the German kid and be grateful that he was willing to say such a thing to a man like me that's very confrontational, you know?
Yeah.
He risked a lot by doing that, because you don't ever want to piss off a rich dude who's petty, you know? That's a good rule of the game. But, you know, I'm not projecting it onto him. I'm not going to do anything petty, of course. My point being, it's like I'll likely thank that guy one day for that feeling that he gives me that I can later tap into, just as much of an intensity as what it was when it first came about. You know what I mean?
Yes.
People lack that. So I don't think it's an it factor. Sometimes it is, but a lot of the times it's not. You know what I mean?
So you just have to be self-aware enough to be able to identify those things.
Yeah, you got to find the shit that just like strikes a chord. Like, dude, what have you done as a new money guy? You know, like you've just been getting money. Have you found something yet where you're like, man, I love that feeling, you know? Or something that's just fucking pissed you off, dude.
The one thing I've realized about myself like the past 6 months is that I hate when like, I wouldn't even consider them like competitors, but like guys who like were competing for the same type of clientele or whatever it may be, like just post like wins and shit, and like you could tell that they think they're as good as me, and just fucking pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? Like that should actually.
That's a good one for sure. I had a guy the other day, somebody apparently that considers themselves my peer, because he tried to avoid paying me to ask me questions and tried through multiple people to communicate with me, and I sat there and I was like, the audacity.
Yeah.
Like for this type of person. That's happened to me a few times over this past couple months, where to your point, like someone's reached out or I've just become aware of somebody and I'm like, this fucker identifies at like the same level, and it makes me want to get way richer.
Yeah, because they actually believe that. So like, if obviously you're doing something wrong if someone else actually believes in their head.
And I'll tell you, to be clear, that's another great example, kind of like the German kid analogy. It's like, in most instances, if you actually got the opportunity to just like network and meet with these people you're talking about, like you'd actually probably get a lot of value from the conversation. I regularly do as well with those types of people. But what you want to do successfully, to be clear, so it doesn't actually become like a real enemy, you know, you just want to identify with the feeling of it, and you want to be able to tap into that successfully. And if that makes you like kind of enemize the other person, that's one thing. But you also don't want to take your behavior to a place where it's like negatively, you know, you're doing shit that doesn't make revenue, you're doing shit that kind of takes you to a bad place. The emotion is what you want to evoke, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the important part, where you're trying, like a well, you know?
Yeah, I think you need to tap into it more.
Yeah.
You need to tap into that more.
Yeah. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah. What's another one of your motivators?
You know, I'll tell you what, a big one that's consistent for me is a little bit of what we talked about earlier when it comes to the space and the optionality on money. Every time, it's like a mystery box, you know? Every time I continue to get richer and continue to like get more space, the amount of new things I can think with that were previously unknown unknowns, like things I didn't even know I didn't know, that become like possibilities and things to think with, are so cool that I just continue to pursue more as a result of this like mystery of like what's on the other side of it, you know, and not knowing what could be there. I'll give you a great one, okay? It's a very personal one. I'll kind of anonymize the story a little bit so this person doesn't know I'm like directly talking about them, just out of respect for them. So one of my family members recently, they had a relative that had a stroke, okay? And this person was in another country, like very far away, like 10+ hour flight. And they were like very concerned about their ability to go and like see this family member, okay? And they were telling me about it, and I was like, why don't you just book a first class flight? Like, I'll pay for it. Like, I'll get you a hotel right now. I was like, do you want to take anybody else?
Yeah. And
they were like, well, you know, they started doing that thing where they're like, oh no, you don't gotta do it. I'm like, no, dude, like, it's like no money, dude. Like, fucking go down there.
Well, this is a family member or a friend?
Yeah, it's a family member, okay. Yeah. And they had somebody in their extended family that like, I didn't even know.
Okay.
And they were like, you know, I want to go see this person, but like, you know, I don't have the cash. And I was like, dude, just book a fucking flight. And just to be clear, they got to stay in a world-class hotel while they were there. They got to bring like all their other family members together and like be together. They got to see this person. They got to like, I mean, this person was gonna have a brain surgery because they had a stroke twice. Little things like that, you know? There's stuff that you don't necessarily think with actively. My fiance, she walks into a vet one time with our dogs, like some routine, they had to get a shot or some shit, you know, for the 3 little weenies we have. And dude, some lady in there was just bawling her eyes out. And you know, she's talking to the nurse or like the person there at the front desk, and they were like, you know, like, we have financing, and the lady was like, no, like, you know, she's bawling her eyes out over her financial position. Her dog apparently needed some kind of surgery, but my fiance walked in at like the exact moment that this lady was like in the middle of this conversation. And my fiance didn't even think twice about it. She even asked me, she just fucking pays for this lady's fucking dog surgery. It was like a couple grand, like $3 grand.
It was gonna die if she couldn't pay for it?
Yeah, if something fucked up was gonna, I'm pretty sure they said they had to put the dog down, or the dog was gonna die, or they had to do this like life-saving surgery for it, okay? And long story short, it was like $3 grand. Wasn't even that crazy, it was like $3 grand. Dog lives, lady's happy. Just like little shit like that, you know? Philanthropic stuff. I'll give you one that I in no way, shape, or form identify with. I do not fuck with homeless people, okay? And I'll tell you why. I think there's 2 different types of homeless people, okay? I want to be fair to homeless people in saying this. I'm empathetical towards the homeless person that's there because of unfortunate circumstances that like totally fucked him into that position, okay? I have found that there is a completely different type of homeless people. I'll show you on the cameras after this, dude. I have like the craziest fucking videos you could possibly, I don't even want to talk about them here from like honestly how fucking gross this shit is, okay? There's an entirely different type of homeless person where they're homeless intentionally to live off of the grid, to have like government assistance on certain days. They truly, their standards low enough to where, I know this might sound crazy, I'm truly not trying to sound like a dick. I'm genuinely trying to articulate like the reality of this circumstance because I'm around them now here with this fucking office, okay? They intentionally do it because they want to do drugs. Like they want to be off grid. They want to like live that particular way and they don't mind it because their standards are low enough to not mind it. And as a result of that, like they're that type of homeless person specifically, in my opinion, huge fucking burden on society. Like huge, catastrophic fuck up for businesses when those types of people are nearby, as an example. Lowers the quality of life for literally everybody. And I can't stress this enough. Like you might have one of those homeless people that comes up to your window and is like, oh, I'm in this like, dude, there's a guy, I'll give you a perfect one. There's a guy, rolls around on a wheelchair all day. 4 minutes down the road when I go over to the penthouse, I see him under the bridge there, and he's just begging for money, waiting for people to go onto the highway. He acts like he's in a wheelchair, literally acts like his legs don't work. And bro, he walks around with his wheelchair in this area. Like I have the same guy on camera. We've even gone up to him and been like, yo dog, what's up with this? Like he's the kind of guy where you could be like, I'll give you $20, you walk over and grab it. And he'll get up and fucking walk over and grab it. Like that, again, my point is not all homeless people are like that, okay? Just to be extremely fair, there are homeless people who are a burden. But it's like, I don't have any drivers when it comes to like doing some philanthropic shit about like helping homeless people. Like, I don't identify with that one, right? And even to be self-aware about what you don't, but I tell you what I do identify with is like, I'll go take a fuckload of my old clothes and when I first moved to Miami, I had moved into the hood in a little area in Overtown. And there was a project complex across the street that's since been demolished. I've had to find new ones since. And there's actually a new one a couple minutes down the road. I'll take all my old clothes, bro, and I'll go and drive into that area, and I'll just like give my old clothes to like the people who are there who they fit. It's like I'll go around Christmas, I don't ever film any of this shit. I'll just buy a fuckload of stuff, and I'll just go give out presents to these people that I know are like actually underprivileged, just poor, underprivileged, and I'll give them, I like that as a philanthropic thing. And instead of donating money to do it, I like the driver of like actually going and doing it, you know, and helping those people out. I love buying school supplies for same thing, like people who are in an underprivileged position, just for the fact that like it feels good. It's a philanthropic cause. I also look at a version of philanthropy as helping people who are like unskilled get into courses without having to pay for it. We typically on an annual basis give away about $300 to $500K in course value to people who are just in a position.
Really? How do you go about that?
People come to us all the time, man. They hit us with the most troublesome stories you could imagine.
Well, like in the
They're very
DMs?
transparent about it, and they sometimes in real life, sometimes it's in DMs. It's all over the place, and we're happy to help people when, like, again, they're like actually in a fucked up position instead of trying to make money off of them and get them to pay for it. And I can't stress enough. It's like I love things like that, but I also know, like, you know, donating like some random amount of money just for a tax write-off to some charity I'm never going to see the impact of, like, that doesn't have as much of a driver for me, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you gotta be fucking locked into this random shit that makes you like love getting richer, you know? Because the richer you get, like the more that kind of impact you can make, and the more you can actually do, you know? And my entire business nowadays is built around helping rich people get richer. So the big philanthropic side of what we do is helping people who are in these burdened positions. It's really cool. It's a great cyclic process. But I can't stress enough, it comes from, like, you wouldn't even be able to pay attention to that. Like that checkbox analogy I gave you earlier, to get to sophisticated gambler. Bro, you can't even do philanthropic shit. Think about it. You're not gonna sound like an asshole if you answer honestly. Do you do anything philanthropic like that? You have any like random shit that you do that creates an impact like that?
Bro, nah.
Like when I was first getting money, same thing. It's like, it's exactly what I'm talking about. The richer you get, like you just do a whole bunch of different shit.
Yeah,
that,
if
like,
I had way
literally
more
you
money,
can't
I
do.
would.
Exactly, and that's my point. It's like, you just have to get to this point where you're like rich enough to where you're actually like you ever heard that like cup overflows on the people? That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, why do I go and benefit this community? Is because I was fucking in that community when I first moved to Miami. I know it exists. I know it's underprivileged. Like, I know those people need help. I know that they're not just gonna like have an it factor all of a sudden that like changes their whole life, or like wake up and do. I know those people though can get out of those circumstances if they have the awareness and skills. It's like, I know I can help them. I know I can do things like that, but it's like, bro, I can't pay attention to any of that stuff. I'm not rich enough to have the time and the money to think with it at all. You understand? There's stuff like that you can do. Here's the thing though. Your driver might be selfish as fuck. It might be nothing empathetical like what I just said. You might just want to go buy Richard Milles, you know? You might want to go buy more cars that with the doors that go like this or like this, you know? It's like, that might be your thing. You might say, you know, all I really want to do is just fucking rotate through a different chick every week that's like mega hot, and I want to have enough money to like even pull that off, you know? It's like, your shit might be like, I want to travel around and like do like passive work and fuck, whatever the fucking thing is, whether it's extremely selfish or whether it's like empathetical and geared towards helping others, it truly doesn't matter. The virtue signaling is thinking it's got to be something that's like society is going to accept it and like look at me and be like, oh, that's a great thing that person's doing. Bro, if you took a random clip from this as an example without any context of what else I'm saying and just like clip the part where I'm like, fuck homeless people, you know? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna look like an asshole, but it's like, no, that's the thing. It's important to note. This is the most important thing to note. It's like, I don't virtue signal about what I like or don't like for societal acceptance. It's like, no, I know that I don't like the homeless people that exploit the system, but I know that I deeply will help the ones that are actually like burdened. There's two homeless facilities. One's for drug homeless people and one's for families. It's like, bro, I'm already talked to the one that has families, and there's a radical fucking difference between the two types of people that go to these facilities. The guy who gets up from the wheelchair, which one do you think he goes to? You know, bro, if I talked about, we call it the poop cam. In between the gym and I here, there's this little punched in area. Bro, I won't tell you, okay, I'll tell you the first part, okay? A guy comes up, It's at like 5:25 in the morning. Just imagine you see us on camera, okay? A guy just walks up to this area, instantaneously just pulls his pants and underwear off, just sits on the ground like the regular rocks, okay? Pulls out his backpack like something. We don't know what it was. Smoked something twice, okay? Puts it back in his backpack. Immediately just starts jerking off, okay? Okay? Now it gets worse. He starts fingering his ass and jerks off for 25 full minutes, okay? And then just like gets up, assume he got his nut off, I'd assume, right? Gets up. By the way, at one point, this fucker was putting his leg up on the wall, okay? It's like, okay, I'll give you another one. This is like days later. A guy walks up, just pulls down his pants, thankfully not all the way off like the first guy who was jerking off, just pulls down his pants, presses his ass against the wall and just takes his shit, okay? And then just has like napkins on him, wipes his ass, throws the napkins on the ground. Like, okay, a couple days after that, by the way, the shit is there, okay? On this next one I'm telling you, two guys walk up. They're there to just chill. One guy takes a piss in the corner and then he just starts to like sit down. He sits down right next to the poop. Right next to the poop. Like I'm talking like this far away, dude. Like you and I have too much distance between us. If we got way closer and there was poop between us, that's where these two guys just started to hang out in this small area, but with poop in between them, while they sat there and like, they didn't even do drugs. They just sat there and were like chopping it up. Like 3 a.m. just chopping it up. One takes a piss. Imagine like taking a piss, dude, and then just like 3 feet away from where you piss, where there's also poop, you're just like, sick spot to chill, dude. Like let's fucking post up here and hang out, you know? Like that's what I'm talking about. It's just, dude, that is what I don't in any way, shape, or form fucking have any empathy or like want to help. That's not what I'm talking about when I say like, oh, homeless people are great. No, I'm talking like down the road, there'll be like a mom and 2 kids that they're homeless because the mom was in a highly abusive relationship and she just escaped, and like she was literally willing to be homeless with her kids instead of endure that relationship and that environment ongoing. And so she left the home, took her 2 kids with her, went to a homeless shelter. It's like, dog, I'll fucking donate money to ladies like that and help those ladies out all the time, you know? But that's a totally different scenario, okay? Comparatively, like, I came out here one day, there's a guy just laying here in the afternoon. The guy who runs his business next door, he's hilarious. His name's Albert. He's a Hall of Fame pro boxer, okay? And Albert, I go tell Albert, I'm like, hey man, we got a guy fucking sleeping out here. Like, he told me, this is my first couple of days being here, he's like, come and tell me if there's any homeless people. And I'm like, all right, yeah. So I go and tell him, I'm like, hey, there's homeless dudes like laying down outside. He approaches the guy and just goes, hey man, you know, totally normal. Hey man, can't be here. You know, it's private property, this little area you're laying in. This guy instantly starts just going fucking ape shit, dude. Just ape shit. Not Albert, the homeless guy. Tweaking the fuck out, screaming, yelling. We had to call cops because he starts, there's people who walk from this lot right here to the gym. He's just cussing out people from the gym, sexually harassing chicks, all within minutes. Just freaking the fuck out. And we call the cops. Here's what he does. As soon as the cops roll up, this fucker strips completely naked, has a Target shopping cart, books it down the road, okay? And the cops are asking us, they're like, what did he look like? We're like, he wasn't naked. I mean, we know what he looked like with clothes, but like, what the fuck do we know? This fucker evades the cops. Like, the cops call us on our cell afterwards, and they're like, yeah, we don't know where he went. If you see him again, like, let us know. It's like, we're not talking about those types of homeless people. Like, again, we have empathy towards like actual homeless people, not like fucking that kind of shit, you know? Like, that kind of shit sucks.
Yeah, thanks for those stories.
Yeah, we're gonna start vlogging this soon. We're gonna vlog. We'll have vlogs about the poop can.
Yeah, you got to get that on cam. You got to get that.
Yeah,
on cam.
look, I'm not gonna show you guys jerking off and like fingering his ass, but I mean, fuck, dude, you should. It's like traumatic to even think. Every time I say it, I like think of it. You know, I'm like, oh god, it's just terrible vision, terrible memory. You know.
Yeah. All right, I think we can wrap it up. That was good though. I think that was like an hour and a half. All right, let's get to wrap it up here. I'll leave Mr. Jeremy Haynes' YouTube channel down below. You get some education, not a ton about homeless people on your current YouTube channel, but maybe
I got nothing about homeless on my channel.
Anyways, go check out his channel. Appreciate you for coming on. I'll catch
thanks
you
for
guys in the
having
next
me,
video.
Well, that was pretty fun. Okay, all my views on homeless people is aside, I'm just trying to put out some content most recently on what I call some get to know me content. Realize a lot of what I put out is more like talking head and practical strategies and advice. And although I'm gonna obviously continue and perpetuate that, I'm also gonna pepper in a little bit of get to know me stuff too. So do me a favor, if you like that, drop a comment for me and let me know if you liked it or not, because that'll inspire me to go and do more of it. As always, thank you very much for investing any amount of time into watching that and consuming that. I hope you got some valuable insights that you're gonna be able to take away and go get richer. Check out some of the other videos on my channel. They're all built for people that are trying to crack $1 million months, whether it's the first million or next million a month. We're here to help you understand from people who have already been there, done that, what they're doing and what they're putting into practice, what they're thinking, what strategies they're using in tactics and team structures and all that. So anyway, moral of the story, no earnings claims, no in any way, shape, or form guarantees of income. Every single thing that we do is just, again, for an education and entertainment purpose. Don't expect to make any money by watching any of my videos here. Check out some links down in the description if you want to check out my paid stuff. And again, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Talk soon.